This is Peaky Glam, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about what I was going through right now because I'm going through my transformation with the Lord, right? So what was going on was that I spent most of my wilderness and my pruning stages. God spent most of my time really just clearing my atmosphere. So, he took away family, friends, a man, relationships, basically to get me back on the right path. And that's with him, and to get me to go back within. So, somebody be like, well, what's so hard about that? So, the fact of when you're used to having family, friends, and everyone around you, and a relationship, you thought you'll be with them forever, so that's painful when God started taking it away from you, because you don't know what God is doing at the time. So while you're going through the isolation stage, it's hard because you're by yourself. and I went through some other stuff, some spiritual things too, but I went through the isolation stage, the pruning, to take it away and stuff. So basically he was clearing my atmosphere so I can get closer to him and know myself better. So that's what the isolation is for you, so no one can send no more distractions. So it is a real process that the Lord takes you through, because if you don't do it, on your own, because I didn't do it on my own. So it's something that happens. So, some people call it different things: the awakening, the dark night of the soul. It's when you come to the end of yourself, and it's a spirit source makes you do the work, basically. So that's why it's not easy, because God like, you go do this work. So that's what's been going on. He's been clearing my atmosphere, and I've been getting to know him better and myself better. And that's what this is all about, transformation. So at the time when it's taken all away, you're hurting, crying, you're going through all these things. And this took 4 years for me. I spent 4 years dealing with all the attacks and everything. Spiritual attacks, I talk about that a lot. Spiritual attacks, people attacking me because I chose God. So these are things that you go through that people that don't know it, because I didn't know nothing about this process. No one explained it to me. So, so yes, doing the pruning. So he took TV away from me. Couldn't watch TV. A lot of things he took from me. And at the time it's hard, but eventually down the road, if you keep following God and stuff, you understand what he was doing. And what he was doing, was basically clearing my atmosphere. But once I'd done it and I went through the process, once I went through the process, I'm like, oh, this is what he's doing, Also getting you prepared for your blessings, and what he has in store for you. So now I know I don't need those things. Back then I was like, oh my God, I am just crazy. I was going crazy. Ain't nobody even know I was going crazy. So I'm like, now I get it, that now I get it. I know what he was doing. And so after all the pruning, the isolation, and now it's transformation time. Now it's teaching me discipline. That's where I'm at now. Discipline, my scheduling, um, and being and keep pushing through, even though you get resistance or it's hard, because it is hard. You know, if you're trying to become a better person, it's not easy. You know, that's if that was the case, everybody be doing it, right? So everybody's not doing that. So, but it's people that are, you know what I'm saying? And so basically, I know what's going on now, and now I'm going through the process of transforming now. Because I went through the isolation stage. She took everybody from me. So, yes, I be basically by myself going through the process of what the Lord is taking me through. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'm going through. And so this walk can either make you or break you, okay? So, so I was saying, like, so I'm thinking about the promises of God. Like, okay, He gave me promises, so I'm like, what if I don't make it? That's what you be thinking. And then sometimes you be thinking like, then you be thinking like, I can't do this no more. You be like, I don't know about this. It's hard, okay? Change is not easy. It's hard, you know. And it's not just changing. See, so when you walking with the Lord, He's teaching you to trust on Him and not go before Him. He goes before you. You know, I don't want to get ahead of Him, and I want to be behind Him. You know. So yeah. So it's your story is already written. It's already written. So God has plans for you, and so does the enemy has plans for you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pick one. So if you don't choose God, if you don't choose God, you chose Satan by default. I didn't know that. I know it now. You know, because you need God's protection. So if you ain't choose him, you chose the other dude. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you need God's protection. And so yeah. So while you walking through your journey, you know what I'm saying? Because God was teaching me really. It didn't just start now. You know, it just didn't start now that my journey with God. You know, even though I was in the world, God still had his hands on me. I was still chosen even though I was in the world. I was still his child. It's just the fact I didn't know who I was. You know, so if he already know everything, he's God, he knows everything. He's all knowing, right? So he knew the time, my appointed time, when I was going to lay down my life for him and take the call, you know. So, but when I was in the world, I didn't know everything that I know now, as far as like I didn't know about God, the Holy Spirit, and those things. I didn't understand the enemy. You know, it's a lot of things I didn't understand. But I know the enemy saw me regardless. Even if I didn't know back then, the enemy knew. You know, he knew who I was. I remember I go to a club and they'll be like growling at me. I'll be like, I know I ain't that daggone pretty for me and the people to be growling at me. I mean, it would be ridiculous, the things I would go through. I'm like, this don't make no sense. And I would always feel irritated, even though I go, because I used to go out because I love to party and dance. You know, I love to dance and party. You know, I have a little drink, you know, but it was never felt like comfortable or nothing in places like those things. You know, I'll go outside and probably smoke a cigarette or something to get a break from all that. You know what I'm saying? You probably have to drink to even be around all that, right? You know, so, yeah. So even when you're in the world, you know, the enemy see you. He know who you are. You already marked. So that's why you go through a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So while you walking, even when you in the world, you know, when I was in the world, God still was teaching me stuff. So what would happen was I would be in the spirit with God, and then I'll be out of the spirit. I'll be in the spirit praying with God, and then I'll be out of the spirit, about to go kick it with my friends and do whatever I'm going to do. So I do know every time I walk with God, everything was done right. Everything went through. But then as soon as I got out of God, everything haywire, crazy again. You know what I'm saying? So he was teaching me along the way, you know, for this day to remember, because I go back and you remember, like, oh, I remember. And that's when you know God was always there. You didn't know he was, but he was always there the whole time, waiting on you. That's the thing, he waiting on you. he waiting on you. So it's like he already wrote your story. You know what I'm saying? He already wrote your story, and we just walking it out. So it's like everything is you know, we're renew, return, repent, reborn, again, because we already know him. We already know God. And I think that's what this world wants you to not know, that you are from God. You know what I'm saying? That he made you, and to keep you from him. That's the plan of the enemy, to keep you from God, to know that it's a true God out here that really cares about you. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, we got to get back to him. You know, so I don't care if you got like your money problem, you have no money problems, your life all together, you always gonna need God, because he's the all-knowing God. So it's things you don't know. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and his ways, you know, are higher than our ways in heaven. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So regardless, what he was teaching me, regardless of circumstances, situations, trials, or whatever, to stay near him, to stay with him. So I'll know that. You know, that's what I learned in my pruning season, my wilderness, dark night, so whatever you want to call it. That, so basically what he's teaching me is how to be a disciple of Christ, to be disciplined. Because I had no discipline. I was far from discipline, you know what I'm saying? I was like the Addams family. Do what you want to do, say what you want to say, Addams family. That was me. I do what I want to do, say what I want to say, okay? So yeah, God had to change all that. You know, if you go walk with him anyway, you know. So he was bringing me out of the dark and into the light, okay? Out of the dark into the light. So he was a little bit, little by little, you know, he was taking the scales off my eyes little by little. That's what I pray. Lord, take the scales off my eyes. Open up my spiritual eyes. Open up my spiritual ears, Lord. Cleanse my spiritual eyes, Lord. You know, because I only want to hear from the Lord. I don't want to hear from no other spirits, you know what I'm saying? And so I tell him, you know, that's what I do. I tell him, cleanse my spiritual eyes and my spiritual ears, so I only hear from him. So, and then he was giving me visions little by little. You know, the vision, you know, the promises. He was showing me little by little, the vision little by little. You know, he don't show you all in parts. You probably run to it and do it and mess it up. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what I'm learning, that he gradually, you know, tell you stuff. And he was giving me revelation and understanding little by little. You know, I always ask God for wisdom, understanding, and revelation. And, you know, yeah. So revelation means the act of revealing, of communicating divine truth. So yeah, I was getting downloads, you know what I'm saying? And he'll give me scriptures sometime, you know what I'm saying? So the journey is hard work. It's work basically, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. I'm so happy I went through it, but it's still hard, okay? It's not a walk in the park, okay? This walk will either make you or break you, I'm telling you. So I'm like, sometimes I want to give up, like, I don't want to do this no more. Like, this is hard, but how could you go back? How could you go back? I can't. I have to keep going. You know what I'm saying? I have to keep going no matter what he take, how hard it's going to be. You know what that's what it is. So, yeah. So, you know, I believe that, you know, all your life you want love. You know, well, unless you Satan's seed and you know you just straight up evil. You know what I'm saying? That's all we want is love, support, understanding. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, Satan came in and gave everybody trauma, problems, and generation curses came down on kids, you know, and we didn't know what we was up against. So yeah. So basically, you got to get rid of all the trauma, healing, and all those things. And like I said, sometimes it comes back up. You know, you be like, I got rid of that. Nope, it's there. You know what I'm saying? You just got to keep going. You got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And some of that also, when you get your mate, y'all can help each other too. But you got to do the work first. And that's what I'm doing. So God, you know, he disassembled us and put us back together with love. He put us back together with love, forgiveness, and courage, and confidence, and strength, and empathy, and patience. You know, and the fruits of the Spirit: love, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, faith. You know, goodness, joy, meekness. You know, and yeah, so we like the fruit. You know, the fruit, like when you're growing fruit, the gardener has to, you know, fight the weeds so it won't choke out the fruit. And that's what we got to do with our spirit, you know, because the enemy go try to choke it out, choke out the fruits of the spirit. And that's what he tried to do. So we have to battle the sin. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle. But that's what I'm going through right now. And I will be back to tell you more. Like and subscribe. And don't give up, because I know, you know, don't give up. That's all I got to say. Don't give up. Just keep pushing through. That's all I can tell you right now, because I'm still pushing through, and it ain't easy. I'm still pushing through. I'll be crying and everything, like, oh, God, help me. You know, I say, I'm not over here fronting over here like, oh, I got it. No, I be crying. We human, okay? I be crying. But I'll wake up every day. It's another day to try again, okay? I love you guys. Bye-bye.